Okay, everyone, I'd like to welcome you to 303 to 305 Sports. My name is Brandon Roker, and I'll be discussing on this channel Broncos, Nuggets, Rockies, Dolphins, Marlins, Heat, Miami Hurricanes football, Colorado Buffalo football. I'm based out of Colorado, but I'm a Miami fan as well. It's a long story. But yeah, welcome to the channel, and hope you guys enjoy. I'm a contributor to Mile High Maniac, which is all Denver Pro Sports. It's on the Fan-Sided network. You can find links in my description to articles on there, and also links to my Twitter. So yeah, let's get it going with the Broncos free agency recap and draft outlook. LA signed 4 players, 2 on the offensive line and 2 on the defensive line. The first was Ronald Leary, the offensive guard from Dallas. He's a solid run blocker. Excuse me. I think it's a great all-around move. I give it an A+. I mean, there's really no question about it. Dallas had the best offensive line in football, even though Leary was benched for Leo Collins. Collins did get hurt early in the season, and Leary stepped in and obviously was a part of the most prolific rushing attack in the NFL this past season. So just a way to kickstart that run game for Denver that was lacking, for lack of a better word, in 2016. And whoever the quarterback is, be it Tony Romo, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, they'll all appreciate an upgraded run game for the Denver Broncos. Before I get into Menelik Watson, they also restructured Donald Stevenson's contract, which is a huge plus, which freed up some money, which allows Elway to, make some of these other signings. And, just based on last year, honestly, every player on the offensive line could be asked to take a smaller deal, and it wouldn't be unreasonable. I know that's not realistic, but I'm just saying if it wouldn't be unreasonable if every offensive lineman the Denver Broncos employed last year took a pay cut. I don't know who is paying Russell Okung $54 million, but have fun with that. But okay, on to Menelik Watson, right tackle from Oakland. Health is his biggest concern, which was kind of the same thing with Donald Stevenson last year. But if you can get 12 games out of both Stevenson and Watson, you can make it work with Sam Brillo and who we have on the roster and who will inevitably draft in this year's draft, get them some snaps, So I still think that the tackle position is going to be some sort of a revolving door or by committee to a certain extent this year until we find that cornerstone at left tackle, and then we can find the right tackle. But I think with Garcia and Leary on the inside, that stabilizes that inside enough to get the run game going. Switching to the defensive side, Damata Pecco, the defensive tackle from Cincinnati, I think was a great pickup. I gave that an A- grade. He's durable and consistent. Any tape I've ever seen from him has just been nothing but consistency. I think he's only missed one game, or I think he only hasn't played 16 games one time in his career, which is incredible for an interior defensive lineman. Then we go to Zach Kerr. He's good against the run, good against the pass. He's 6'2", 334, so just a big body in the middle, just clogging up that run, so they're not getting to that second level and getting to Brandon Marshall and whoever the second inside linebacker is, who Brandon Marshall is undersized, so having him come up and run support constantly or having running backs get to the second level just isn't good for any of the defense as a whole, Brandon Marshall's body as a whole, and just his durability and ability to stay up for the whole 16 game and then possibly 3 game postseason that we hope for. So keeping opposing running attacks, contained at the defensive line and that front is probably Denver's defense's main concern for 2017. I mean, the no-fly zone is still in effect. Von Miller and Shane Ray are beasts on the outside. I mean, I expect Denver to draft an interior linebacker in the draft in probably day 2, just to go alongside Hightower to replace Trevathan, who we lost 2 years ago, who went to Chicago, as that run-stopping interior linebacker. But Brandon Marshall just flat out isn't big enough to be in run support all year. I mean, that's just not realistic. But overall, I give LA an A for this signing period. I mean, following the Super Bowl loss to Seattle, you saw Denver go out and spend big on Talib and Ward and Sanders in that free agent class, and DeMarcus Ware. And I think this one will have similar impacts, not as big of names, but on a smaller budget, and gives the Broncos more flexibility to work with, and doesn't put them in salary cap hell like a lot of teams go in trying to stay relevant or keep that window open. I think Elway's main thing in 14 and 15 was not to be great, but to be great from now on. You know, it doesn't matter if you reload and you get paid Manning for 4 years and then you're just garbage the next, 4, 5, 6 years after that, trying to rebuild after that. Like, Elway's trying to build a consistent winner from here on out, not just that 4-year stretch. Like, okay, we got a Super Bowl, let's be fine with that. Like, no, we're trying to build. They used Peyton Manning to get to the 2 Super Bowls. He took us to 2 Super Bowls and won us 1, but he also made us a very attractive free agency destination. So even after he's gone, the players that came in and wanted to be a part of those teams, DeMarcus Ware, even though he's gone, TJ Ward, Aqib Talib, Emmanuel Sanders, we still have those pieces even though Manning's gone. So Manning, his impact is continuing to impact us today in a positive way, and that just goes to show the greatness of Peyton Manning and what players would give up to come play with him, which then gave Denver hometown discounts when negotiating, which has allowed us to be kind of a plug-and-play type of team where we're not too many pieces away. I mean, New England, they won the Super Bowl, obviously, and they have some nice pieces. Brandon Cooks and with Tom Brady is quite scary, but you can't count on Gronk for 16 games and the playoffs. That Patriots offensive line is not very good, and it hasn't gotten any better since we beat them in the 2015 AFC Championship game where Von Miller just teed off on Brady all game. So if Denver can get back to that attacking type defense, I mean, I really don't see any of the additions that New England made putting them substantially ahead of where Denver could be if they had their quarterback and everything else in place. Speaking of the quarterback position, if Tony Romo is released by the Dallas Cowboys, I fully expect John Elway to go after Tony Romo, and then I expect Trevor Siemian to be on the market shortly thereafter, possibly getting Cleveland to bite, or one of the many quarterback-hungry teams in the NBA, or in the NFL, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, if they can get Tony Romo, I think the gap between Denver and New England is, before it, I think it's already small, and after, I think no gap exists. I think Denver could go head up with New England with Romo.